Hello, you are watching Wolfpack Live, and I'm your host, Wendy Fortino. And we have some legendary bodybuilders up in the house. I'm going to introduce them, and then we're going to get right into it. First, we have Chris Cormier, the real deal. Chris is a complete legend. He has won, 13 pro shows. He's been runner-up at the Arnold, 6 times. He is one of the most iconic bodybuilders, and we're going to talk about some of his reigning moments. But he also has a podcast on Muscle Discord called The Real Deal. He just started it. He's on episode number 4, and it's doing really, really well. He's a regular on Dennis, the Menace podcast. And he's also a host on Primetime Muscle with Olympia TV. Let's see, did I miss something? I don't know. You're doing everything. You do everything. What?
4-time Pro Ironman champion.
4-time Pro Ironman champion, of course. And how are you doing today, Chris?
Good. How you doing? Nice
I'm good.
Thanks for the invite.
I could be here forever listening at all your accomplishments, so I try to sum it up in the most notable ones, but there's a lot. And then we have Dennis, the Menace, James, Big D James. He is an incredible, iconic, legendary bodybuilder as well. He took 4th in the 2003 Olympia, and he has been a multiple-time pro champion. He is making his mark right now as a host and commentator, and he runs Dennis the Menace podcast on muscle and fitness, and he does just about everything too. So, Dennis, how are you doing?
I'm great. How about you guys?
I was going to say most notable, the Hungarian Pro champion, which I took 2nd. I know he wanted to mention that one probably.
I wasn't even going to bring that up, Chris. I think the world knows. No, I wasn't going to bring that up.
Well, before we get started on some of the things that I want to talk about, because we have a lot to cover, and I might need to have you guys back because there's a lot going on in the bodybuilding world right now. But I want to kind of take a little trip down memory lane, and I have a couple of videos that we could talk while they're going. But I want to start with, actually, who do you want to start with? I have one for each of you. I have Chris and I have Dennis. Dennis first. Okay, so I have a little something special. Hang on one second. Let me just find this.
You know, yeah. And this is what you rap to. I mean, come on like you should. Come on with you, come on.
This is your...
Now cut for me, mommy. Up.
Look at it, Chris. Look. Get a good look.
You just start right from the back. You just stepped on stage. You just went right to the back. I did notice in your comparisons, Dennis, that you did Chris's left lat, right lat, slow open, right?
I didn't get that from Chris.
It wasn't really mine. I just personified it.
Let me think. Who was the one that started doing this? I don't remember, but it wasn't Chris.
Got to be before me.
Chris, yeah, it was before you. But Chris he would put one on, and then he would ask for the audience to come on before. He was like, "Come on before I break the other one."
And I didn't know you had some moves. Look at that.
I was doing breakdancing routines at my competitions 1993 before I even knew anybody.
That was off the streets of Germany.
Yeah.
Borders of Germany.
But I learned it in the streets of New York, though.
Yeah.
I learned it.
Does that bring back some memories?
I was living with my grandmother. I was 16 years old. I was staying with my grandmother in Long Island, New York. That's where I learned how to pop lock. And I was more into breakdancing than pop locking back then. But, I didn't think that would have been appropriate to start doing windmills and head sprints instead of opposing routines. So pop locking was a little bit more
Did you
You
put the
know,
cardboard on
huh?
the? Did you
Oh
have
yeah,
the cardboard on?
yes. You
Yeah.
know, believe it or not, man, you might not believe what I'm telling you right now, but I won the German championship and the world championship in breakdance in 90. Oh wait, 80. Shit, what year was it?
Shut up.
I'm telling you. And
What?
I danced. I don't know if you guys know Holiday on Ice.
No.
That review, that show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
hot. They had the best ice skaters
Oh
back then.
yes, yes.
Back
Holiday.
then,
I thought that's what you said.
yeah, back then there was this German guy. His name was Norbert Schramm, and there was this lady. What was Denise Bielmann? That one period was named after her. They were the top skaters back then. They were in the show, and my part was I came out with my little carpet in the middle of the ice, and I start doing my thing. Yeah, that was me.
What? Forget
You
the
got to get that
bodybuilding.
video.
Yeah. Oh
Forget all
yeah.
this other stuff.
You
That's
can-
the. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
my nieces, Yvonne, they all break dance championships in Germany right now with street card.
Yeah, I remember I had a contract with her. I had a manager. And I remember I was 16 years old when that manager approached me. He came to my parents and my dad had to sign the contract for me because I wasn't old enough. So I had literally, I had appearances like almost every week where I was dancing. I made 1,500 marks back then, which was for a 16-year-old a lot of money.
Ah.
Yeah, I see. This is stories that nobody ever even knows.
Before it could be
You
immortalized
see?
with the internet.
See,
Hey,
I'm coming on your show to to let out stuff that I have never told anyone.
This is amazing.
and he's good at the drums. I didn't know you're that good at the drums. I was shocked about that one.
Oh yeah. I played drums since I was 9. I played drums.
Yeah.
I have. Oh,
Yeah.
I make records and everything. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man.
I was good at everything. I played soccer for 14 years in the highest league in Germany. So, once you start getting 17, 18, where it's just, now I'm breakdancing and playing soccer. The problem was the teams back then, we played Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
It was hard for me because I get out the club at 5 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to be on the soccer field at 10.
It was
It
hard.
didn't go too well for too long.
Oh my god.
So I had to choose, and I chose dancing because young buck, dancing in the clubs, the girls all crazy because he
They
did
like
something. Huh?
They like that.
Yeah, because there was nobody else
Yes.
that could do it. Yeah. Was a
Okay.
good time. Was a good time.
I'm gonna need some footage, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about that some more. Okay.
I wish I
Because
had footage. I don't have no footage. There was no footage back then.
dang it.
There was
Like,
no videos.
Brr.
I'm talking like 84.
man, that's
84. There was no cameras like this. My dad had a Super 8 camera, but can you
You had to
imagine?
really, really try to have some type of camera back then.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't really a thing.
Camera footage, you had to really try to do it. It's not going to be on accident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a few pictures. I still got a few pictures that I found from my team that I put together. You remember back then? You remember the movie Beat Street?
Oh yeah, I mean
You remember
everybody
you remember the movie Break In?
break in.
I did.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That was the time I was dancing. And
Oh.
and this guy's in Beat Street, the band that was in New York, they called Rocksteady Crew.
Rocksteady
Yeah.
Crew, yeah.
The
Yeah.
Rocksteady Crew. And two of those guys, actually, one of them was a bodybuilding fan I met years and years later. And you remember Crazy Leg?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Leg.
He's the one that taught me how to do things when I was in New
Oh
York.
yeah?
For whatever reason, I got to meet him. I didn't
That's
even know who he was. I got to meet him and he showed it to me. For real.
what's up, man.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. This is like
And then Chino, the other
amazing.
guy, Chino, he's a bodybuilding fan. I met him the last time I competed in New York Pro 2009. I think he was there. He introduced himself. He told me he was. I said, what? I was a fucking big fan of you guys because they came to Germany. They did a tour one time. It was ridiculous. Yeah. That was awesome.
That's the wild thing about bodybuilding. You find out so many fans of bodybuilding have no clue about it. I mean, just I don't know, like DMC, he loves bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Just,
You remember how Gregory Hines used to be at the shows?
oh yeah, Gregory Hines, love bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm not a big fan.
Oh man. I want to. I actually, there are a couple things that we're going to talk about. I want to circle that back in. Chris, are you ready?
Chris always ready.
Running. Yeah, man, good.
So
Not the music though, but still, I get it.
it's kind of a combo.
Right.
So one thing I want to talk to you about later is just your posing style and technique. Okay. Even like while we're watching this, what
I
do
was
you?
just like made up on the go because all you got to do is understand the music. You know, I knew I'd have like a different version of it, but then this flowing with the music, just like whatever
We got
happened.
Lee Priest in the house. What up, Lee?
With me,
You're training with Charles Glass.
take your shirt
You
off.
and- Here we go.
Now watch
Here we
him,
go.
watch him waving back.
There's
There you go.
one.
Hey, you can't see the hand, but-
Come on!
Here comes the other.
The trick here is my left side was my. Here's the trick, Dennis. The left side was my biggest side, so I would start with that one first,
Oh,
and then I would slowly turn my back counterclockwise to make you think that my right side was just as big, but it wasn't. I see you. The Aussie champion is in the house.
uh-huh.
I turn the hamstrings on. And I point to the cheek seats up there. You see me? Cheek seats. That was my people up there.
We're talking about both of those for both of you guys, but that was 1999, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Would you say that was your best?
It was. I don't know. It was like,
Yeah, I say it for him. Yes.
yeah.
That was
I
his
mean,
best
yeah.
it was
As
his
far as
best
combination of everything, yeah.
best combination of everything, yes.
Yeah.
He probably had shows where he was a tad harder, but he didn't bring that fullness and all together.
Or
That was
bigger
it
and
right,
not
that
as
was it right there.
or bigger and not as hard.
Hmm.
But that's the year I was really going for to make my mark, and I was like, I just pushed all my chips in the middle of the table, and like that's what I was gonna go with.
So the first thing out right out of the gate that I want to talk about is I want to talk about, so Chris, here you are, you're on stage, 1999, Olympia, and here are the top 3 physiques. Okay. Things have evolved since 1999 to now, and I want to talk a little bit about that evolution with both of you guys. So let's start there. From this showdown, you and Flex and Ronnie, to now, like, tell me what are your first thoughts on like how things have evolved since then?
For myself, I would say, I just think that the different things that we paid close attention to might have gotten lost in the shuffle a little bit when it comes to putting together a physique. Like I'd pinpoint a different area of my physique, whether it's my back, the middle of the back, the lower lat tie-in, or I made sure that my lower half was intact first, and then I started attacking different parts of my body to improve, to have this overall vision of what I had of the perfect physique for me, for my structure.
Yeah. I know when we were doing commentary,
See the striations there, Dennis?
Huh?
See the striations there on the right side of my right glute? See that right there? 3 lines.
Hey, listen, I look at everything else, which was great.
there are some lines, I see them. Yeah. I mean, we talk about that a lot, we talk about like posing to present your physique. Let's just dive into posing, because you two are, I feel like I'm, knowledgeable, but you two are the experts. So let's just talk about the differences in posing. So Dennis, what do you think about, just like posing, even from when you were competing to now? Like, what are some things that you think people need to work on more overall in general?
Well, it starts with even being in the right condition to even pose, not just for a routine, but to be able to go through the mandatory poses over and
Yeah.
over again. That's where it's already, you can already see that when you look back at the early 2000s, the late 90s, when you think about a prejudging, which started with symmetry round, where you go through several rounds of symmetry round before you even get to pose. You
Yeah.
know, those are all things where you had to prepare for. You had to be in shape because you know there's at least 3-4 rounds each that you have to go back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Now, if you are, if you get into first call out, you can do one round. You're going to go step back, and then they're bringing the next call out. It's not, they don't work them like they used to. It's getting better. I mean, I can see it's getting better, but where I think the problem is that the guys just don't practice the posing good, early enough to be able to, you should be able to do 10 rounds without fading, without being tired, and that's one problem. I'm not even talking about the routines. Back then, you had a routine. You put a routine together. For some people, it's harder to put a routine together. For some people, it just comes natural. And but today, since they stopped judging a routine, I think people don't pay as much attention no more to having a great routine because the biggest mistake that I think bodybuilders do, not only now, also in the last 10, 15 years, is when you see someone else that hits shots and you like that pose on that person, you think, oh, I'm going to have to do that pose too because it looks great on
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They forget
Yeah.
that just because it looks great on Chris doesn't mean it looks good on you. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you can't, perfect it, but you have to practice with someone that tells you this is how you have to stand for you to make it look good. And people
Right.
just don't get that. They look at other guys, oh, that pose looks awesome. I'm going to just copy that pose. And then sometimes they really don't look too good in them poses. And that makes it look a little unprofessional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback off of that also? That Dennis brought up a good point, is that the poses I did is because my attributes would give me that pose and make it look good on me. So this left shoulder was bigger than my right. This arm is bigger than my right.
Mhm.
This neck is bigger than my right. So that's why I'm doing the stuff here on this side. That's why I know I can do this pose with the one lat. I know I have a lot of room on this side. I don't have a lot of room on the other side. So I'm not going to start with the other side ever. And I never did this one that it didn't look good on me. It didn't show anything good on me. So I never did it. A lot of people did it. A lot of people still do it. And some of the stuff that even like what Sean would do, or even you go back further, you can get little tidbits from some people. I like the things that some of the women was doing. I had some of the poses I got from women, not even men.
But Chris, now if you think back when let's say you saw a pose that you liked, you said, "Oh, let me see. How long did it take you for you to perfect that pose on you?" That's not just a one-time thing. You literally
Right. Yeah,
practice over and over.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would take it into the lab, man. It's in the posing room, and I don't know how many hours I spent in the posing room on my own, but then helping other people also. And I'm still learning as other people do stuff. I'm still learning through them. But that's the thing. It wasn't like I didn't practice that much and I went there on the stage and I tried to do it. And that's where you probably see that. And that's why a lot of the proposals look really odd on a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
And no one really says much about it, but it's a factor and it matters.
Yeah.
I personally think that when it comes to posing, now that we have all these divisions, because back then there was just men's bodybuilding, women's fitness, women's bodybuilding, that was it, right? And before that was just women's bodybuilding, men's bodybuilding. And I think that what happened is as the divisions started being added, people, and social media, of course, we always have to add that, people are focused so much on trying to be fancy, and they're thinking about getting those fancy videos and all that, the showy kind of stuff. And one thing that really stands out to me about your posing, Chris, is when you posed, there wasn't some fancy arm movements. The arms would move so fluidly, naturally, because you're in control of your body. You're controlling your muscle fibers from the ground up, and everything just flows. And it looks like there's more going on. It looks like the arms are doing something, but they're just doing something because like energy has to escape your arm as you're moving the arm, you know, the muscle through the arm. And it's like that is such an art. And I feel like now posing routines are getting so fancy, and it's all transitions. And I don't really see people hitting the poses as much, like the mandatory poses, nailing them. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's one thing, because I looked at people like Muhammad Makawe, also Muhammad Makawe, also Lee Labrada, people that, you know, that had that really statuesque movements.
Mhm.
Milo Sarshev, people like this, you know, they had that type of look, and I love that Greek god look, and
Mhm.
you know, that's what I went for. Some of the guys had a different body. I love Lee Haney, but Haney had such a big body to me. I was like, one day I could grow into something that Lee Haney would do, and hopefully can look like that. But
Yeah.
I went for the slow movements, the statuesque movements. That was my thing for a long time, and that's why I was in '99. It was so different for me because I never moved like that before. So that was my coming out party with that.
There's your coming out party with your
Yeah,
posing.
yeah, for sure.
So how was this? You and Flux were celebrating on stage, and you had been training together.
Yeah,
So this is,
yeah.
I see so many fans ask you this, and maybe just answer that.
Just because I'd never been in the top three, but that was my war cry, if you will, getting ready for the show. Was I was always in a sixth place, but I felt when I saw it the year before, '98, I was like, I should be in third place. Like I
Yeah.
should have been over these guys. They wasn't they wasn't looking at me like a guy that would be closer to the top three area. And the top three is the top three. And it's like when you're in the top three, that's a statement. You get the bigger medal, you get I wanted that. That's that limelight. And it was like I just felt like this is the time I need to make my push for who do I think I am, or who do I think I could be in this sport. And I feel like that was the year I was like, I'm doing top three no matter what. And then for make that first call out, I never been in the first call out either. So it was just all those emotions. And
but Chris,
yeah.
you know what? Yeah. When you say that, I've never been in the first call out, but that is because they only called three back
Three.
then.
Yeah.
Today, you would be in every first call out.
Exactly.
You know, so
That's right.
that's the other thing. So you do not get discouraged if you're not today, but in today's time, if you don't make first call out, you out of here.
You will not be top 10 if you don't make the first call out.
But back then, if you're not in the first call out, that doesn't mean anything, because this is first the symmetry round. You can still make up ground because you will get compared.
I like that top three stuff.
Yeah, the best example was Ronnie Coleman in '98 when he won. I don't think he was in the second or the third call out.
No.
I think he got fourth call out at the first in the beginning.
What?
Yeah, he ended up winning the show. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Today's people would never understand anything like that, because they think it was just first and never no kind of working
because
to get
Wendy, you probably remember too, because back then when they called three, the first call out, they say this is three. They're going through the mandatories, quarter turns. Now the second call out doesn't mean they're going to send all three back and bring three new ones. They might send one back and bring one more in. So that's the second call out with the same two people.
Yeah, right.
You know, so it took it's that's why you had to be ready to go 3-4 rounds back to back to back, sometimes even more. I remember when Dexter won. When Dexter did he win? What show was that? He had to go 7 or 8 times
in 2008.
There, and they kept sending other people back, kept adding people, and he had to stand the whole time. Yeah.
And mind you, Dennis, my first Olympia '94, they kept calling me to go back and back.
And then bring you right back, and you think, oh,
Yeah, but
thank
the
God, I
damn
can breathe.
stairs, we had to go up the stairs to get back to my point. I was way up the stairs. So they made me do the stairs.
Yes, also, Wendy,
I was like,
back
bro.
then, there was no first call out. They let you go, and they bring you right
Yeah.
back like this is it. So
Yeah.
back then, there was no walking off stage, going backstage, and getting packed up. And
No, hell
nah, you out there breathing, huffing, and puffing, and trying to hold this shit in.
That's crazy.
And not only that, Dennis, they looked at you to see if you were keeping your shit together.
Yeah.
On
Now you get the option to leave, but they tell you don't go too far. We might need
Wow.
you.
don't go too far. You'll be back in the dressing room chilling.
Back then, if you would have walked off
Crazy.
stage, you were out the show. You basically not
That's
coming
crazy.
back.
But it would definitely keep my spirits up if I didn't make that first call out. I would feel like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to win, because like sometimes people get overlooked, and it really sucks if you don't make that first call out and you really belong in there, because you don't even get a chance. You don't even get a chance to be compared with the people in the top. So if you get overlooked, you get overlooked.
We just had that happen last weekend.
I know. That's
Yeah.
what I want to talk to you about. So tell me what you're referring to, and then I want to know if it's what I'm thinking.
referring to Chris. Help me out. What was the guy's name that won the Nationals?
Oh,
Was it Colossus?
Colossus Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the first call out.
Yeah.
And even in the last call out, he wasn't in there. It was still Blessing in the top 5.
Yeah.
And in the finals, confirmation round, he beat Blessing, and he ended up in 5th place.
Yeah.
So don't ever be discouraged, because things can happen, and that was proof of it again.
And his body stayed strong. I don't think he started out looking like this, but he ended up looking like this. And the thing that's been happening, the trend that's been happening lately, Dennis made a note of this on the Menace podcast, is that some of these guys are fading fast and fading quickly, right, Dennis?
Yep. Literally, they come out for their mandatories by themselves. They're fully pumped. They look great, and then 2 minutes later, it's like you let the air out of a balloon, And that is not only a sign of not peaking correctly. That could also be a sign of just not being mentally and physically prepared to pose.
Yeah. Something crazy about this? Go ahead.
Because when you're tired of posing, you're not flexing no more. You're just basically holding your arms up because you're tired.
Yeah.
And if you went through that on a daily basis or every other day or whenever you do your posing, if you went through these things enough, you'll know that what you can do and what you cannot do. Even if you hold your arms up. Like I remember I'd try to preserve my energy because I knew the posing was going to be grueling. So I would do little things to kind of like do some rest in my energy for the next call out or something I think that would be more important.
Yeah. Dennis, something interesting about Kennedy is, so Chris and Melvin were on the commentary talking about him. And
really? They did the commentary?
Before the call outs happened, and they were going, okay, he is going to be in that first call out, because he was standing out to them. And it was weird because he didn't really. So the funny story about that is that I guess that the judges listened to the commentary between prejudging and finals, and then got a second look at him, and they were so if he wants to reach out to Chris and Melvin and let them know, thank you. Because there's
a possibility that they listen to the commentary, but they also see what's going on Instagram and what people say. At the end of the day, judges are humans.
Of course.
And I'm not saying that this was a mistake. I'm thinking that sometimes you can overlook someone.
Oh yes. And I think he did get overlooked. I think he actually didn't pop, to be honest, because he didn't catch my attention right away. Melvin kept talking about him, and he didn't catch my attention. But after I looked at him and after I saw him posing, all of a sudden I'm just going, whoa, who's number 82? Like where did he come from? So yeah, I think that definitely happens, especially early on in your pro career. I think once people get a good idea of who you are, then that doesn't happen anymore.
I think Chris mentioned yesterday that when Blessing came out, he looked much better than he ended up being. So, and for the other guy, it was the opposite. He didn't look as good when he came out, and he started getting better. So that plays a role too.
Yeah.
Because Blessing was right next to Tonio at first.
Yeah.
And it was looking the part and everything was looking fine. But then he slowly started letting the stomach go, slowly started going, and then he started moving other people in.
So they gave him a chance. They gave him a chance. He can't complain.
Yeah, he gave him a chance.
I got this.
And we see right here the lower half, as far as the density, also not just the size, but the density of the leg needs to improve.
Yeah.
But do you think it can still happen? I mean, it's been 2 years. He went away for 2 years just to improve.
I honestly think it can. I think I never seen some workouts that he's doing like, oh my God, this guy's just putting it down. Like, damn. Like, it's not about the amount of weight. It's not about, anything like that. Or, not even some of the exercise. Some of the exercises I don't think is that effective, but I think what you're putting behind each repetition is probably going to show, how that body improves the density, improves the shape and everything like that.
Yeah, but and I say this every time, everybody has a somewhat more stubborn body part. I mean, if someone that's been training, obviously he's been training for at least 15 years, 10, 15 years. And even if you train not correct.
Yeah.
If you have the genetics, you grow. You see, everything else in his body is growing.
Right.
At the end of the day, there is a body part that you can have that's just stubborn, that can be quads for him, that can be calf for someone else, that can be shoulders for others, where you can really, you can go take him through 5 different training techniques and it's still not going to happen because it's just a stubborn body part,
Right. Yeah, I get it.
So I believe he trains. I believe he trained hard. He knows. He's been hearing this since he's with us, with the Pro League, that his legs is not up to par. So I believe that he gave it everything, or at least everything he knew or had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how much more is there that can change a physique that's been worked on for 15 years or maybe even longer? Who knows?
Maybe he can pull Brandon Curry. Curry had the same issue. And then when he came to get the title, he actually started improving those legs over the even latter part of his career. So maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance for sure. I mean, I'm not saying this for him to give up.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that it's hard. Everybody has some body parts or just you can't believe you do everything you're supposed to do and do it over and over and double 2 days a week, 3 days a week. And your body part is just flipping you off. Saying, you can kiss my ass. I'm not growing.
And what about Tony? We all know he was in the best of condition of his life. Do you see? How do you see him like panning out towards the Olympia and stuff like that?
I think that, and I know you were there, so you probably saw it much better than I did because. On the stream, he looked like Tonio. He was in shape, but I know on live is what probably was crazy. I think that Tonio, with the shape that he has, and this is not even bullshitting. I think he has a top 6 shot.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he has a top 6 shot. Okay, well, if we start from the front, we got Samson, we got Derek, we got Hadi. Okay, those are 3 guys. It's going to be hard. Okay, but now we got 4, 5, and 6. Who do we have? We got Andrew. And who else that has a secure spot?
Yeah.
Tonio, trust me, he gonna be in there. He gonna be in there anywhere from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Well,
Hunter's not doing it. Who else is there that has a shot at the top 6? Who can you come? I can't even come up with anybody right now.
Martin.
Yeah.
Martin Fitzwater. Yeah, that's one of them. But Martin Fitzwater and Tonio, they compare very well.
Oh yeah. And and you better bring it because I got a feeling this is gonna be Tonio's year to his trajectory is going up.
Yeah, so, 4 to 6. I have him 4 to 6.
And one thing I noticed about him, Dennis, was Remember, I was talking about how when he went to Brazil and he did that show and he lost. And I said, if he just would have had the lines in his legs prominently, he would have won that show.
He didn't lose that show. He didn't lose that show.
But he would have not left it any type of way to not.
But
not
that was
win.
much better now, right?
Oh yeah, and I
Oh.
told him that. I told him that we were talking behind stage. I said that's all I was ever asking. If you just bring that, you would never leave no food on the table for nobody.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be a reason.
You know how dangerous he is? Who he reminds me of? Dexter. He's not the biggest guy, but he's going to be dangerous. Anybody that's not on is going to get beat.
But all you got to do is bring that type of package, and you're gonna find yourself closer to the winner's circle every time. That's all you got to do.
And to your point, I was just gonna say really fast. The reason why is because of something that you can't see in video. When you see his muscle in person, it has a quality to it, a 3D effect to it that literally cannot translate through video, and that's something that people can't see, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question for you as a female. I mean, I know you're doing figure, but I call you a female bodybuilder. We all bodybuild. As a female bodybuilder, who's your favorite physique today?
My favorite physique today.
If you would have to choose one person you would go on an island with and be with that person for the rest of your life.
Oh my God. I mean, I think Keon Pearson has the best overall.
Okay. Yeah.
I think right now in today's, bodybuilding market, he is the most symmetrically, perfectly sound bodybuilder, I think, right now in this moment, to be honest. I don't know if he's ever going to do open. He's hinted about it, but he's literally flawless to me.
Eventually he will do the open. Eventually,
I think so.
I know he has to, because it's been done 2 times before him, and he's not going to let that stop.
And we got to see him standing next to Samson, guest posing, which was kind of fun, right?
And look good next to him.
Yeah, totally.
But it wasn't the same needle mover like it was when Derek went up there at the Pittsburgh, was it?
What do you mean?
There wasn't enough to move at that point because it was early and there was not. No, but no, it was when he walked up there, he looked like. No, it was. If that would have been the same crowd, Chris, it would have been It would have been the same response.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see it though. I didn't see it. I had to go.
Oh, but, okay. No. That dude looked ridiculous.
So what would be something that if he was moving him to the open? What do you think would be something that he would need to watch or to when he's building his physique into a bigger physique?
I don't even know if he needs to get any bigger.
I know.
I think if he would be just the way he is right now and super peeled, he can compete with anybody.
I think he just needs to, if you're going to grow something, don't try to get it into so many pounds.
Right. Don't worry about it.
More pounds in your body.
I'll give you a perfect example. Lee Haney winning the Olympia. Who got second? Lee Labrada.
Mm-hmm.
There was about 60, 70 pounds between them.
Right.
Yeah, maybe not that much because Lee was only 240 or 246. But there was a tremendous amount. Not only height, size, same thing.
Yeah.
If you put it together and you flow, and I know he was only 230.
Yeah.
He was 230. He looked like he was 270.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how that works?
Samson was 300 plus.
I know. It's crazy.
230. I told him, I said, you weigh as much as me, man. I look half your size.
And then have you seen Samson lately? He's creeping up in his weight up to.
Oh yeah, I believe Samson is on a mission, man.
318 or something like that right now.
He knows he's Mr. Olympia, and it doesn't matter what happened at the Arnold. He's still the favorite going into the Olympia, and I think that this is the year where he has to put it all together. He has to be in the best condition he'd ever brought. Because if not, I don't know if it's going to be enough to beat these guys. So he needs to improve on his showing. I'm going to say from the Olympia, because at the Arnold, I don't think he was as good as at the Olympia.
Yeah.
Even though he thinks he was better, but I think he was better at the Olympia. Oh, at
Yes.
least it was a different stage, different light. It appeared to look better.
I thought
So
he was a
he
little
needs
better.
to beat. He needs to beat his look from the Olympia. I don't think he needs to gain another pound ever.
But
I'm
Dennis,
with you,
so.
actually.
you
Huh?
know as well as I do, when you Olympia and Arnold, it's hard to knock both of those out the park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard.
Yeah.
I know.
And he's probably going to do the Arnold again next year.
I would. I'd do it.
There's a lot of guys that are already confirmed, you know, because they've been already setting up athletes, so it's already confirmed. I think Samson confirmed already. I think a few guys.
Hey.
Yes.
It's gonna be Olympia lineup at the Arnold next year, 100%.
Well, yeah, with the prize money, which I do want to talk about that, but really fast, I want to talk about improving, because we've seen guys have to be put through the ringer, men and women. They show up maybe not totally on point, and then social media has a shit storm over them, and that's when you really find out what people are made of, right? Because when somebody can dig out of that stockpile of hate and come out to the other side. We just saw that with Patrick Moore, right? And that was an incredible transformation, and a lot of people are talking about that right now. So before we talk about the Arnold, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are about. We did have Nick Walker, he went from the Pittsburgh to the New York, won the New York. We had he just won the Cal Pro.
Regan Grimes.
Regan Grimes, he went from the New York, won the Cal Pro, and then we had Patrick, who went from the Cal Pro, 10th place, and then he got second, almost winning. I mean, if Tenio didn't show up, he would have won, but second place of Legion. So improving as a bodybuilder, how you get your mind set into that mode, and how difficult is it to make that turnaround with your physique?
I've had to do it a few times, and so
Yeah.
I know I know for a fact that well, you get pissed off first, and you feel like, okay, even when you're on the stage, like, okay, I know I could do better. I'm gonna do what it takes to do better, and it won't be like a big pig out. Sometimes you can have a little bit extra something after the show, but you go immediately down to get those carbs low, and the output of burning the calories and everything, multiple cardio sessions. I'd go in the gym 3 times a day if I would have to, and that morning, afternoon, and at night. And there'll be some posing, be some training, but it'd be definitely 3 sessions of cardio within that day. And I would do that, tanning bed, pose, whatever I can do to rid of some water, to I wouldn't do it more physical. It's not like something I want to take a bunch of stuff that's gonna make this happen. I want to physically get some of this water pushing out of my body.
Yeah.
And it would have been a great story if he would have won that damn thing.
Oh, man, wouldn't it?
That would have been a hell of a story for him to go from 10th to a victory at the Legion. But as a habit,
but that's another testament for people to know that, listen, it's not about being 250 or 250 whatever. You drop 12 to 15 pounds, and now you're really in shape. So if he would have came in to California the way he did, the way he looked at the Legion in Reno, who knows what would have happened?
Over there. He might have won that one, because you look at his waist got smaller.
Exactly.
Waist got smaller. Hamstring looked like you got a little bit more pop to it.
So now you know, as a professional bodybuilder, this is your job, to get in shape. Yeah. If you sign a contract for competing, it's your job to be in shape. So things happen. Bodies sometimes respond very funny, and it's just not always the same. But still, it's your job to be in shape. And that's probably why he must have felt dog shit after California, and that's what got him motivated to do this, whatever 30 whatever
Mhm.
sessions he did that week before the show, and now he knows what he has to do in order, to
Yeah.
place. He's got to be in that condition, otherwise, don't even bother.
Yeah.
The separation improved in his lower half.
Yeah.
Like crazy. It was like he just had a huge film all over his body, and I thought he was on his way out when I saw
Yeah,
him.
but
Yeah.
listen, it happened to Martin this year. He was talking about 12 pounds bigger, and
Yeah.
he just competed in October, end of October. How you going to come in 12 pounds bigger 3-4 months later? And what happened? He was probably 10 pounds heavier, but he was also 10 pounds softer.
Right.
If he would have looked the way he did at the Olympia, who knows if he wouldn't have been right next to Derek competing? You know what I'm saying?
I'd rather
Mhm.
not have gained no pounds and just come in like he
But
did.
now, because we brought it up, now we're the clowns, which is okay.
Yeah.
We're the
Okay.
clowns.
Here's what I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, here's what I think. I think everyone has their own game to play. And I think that some people aren't the size person, like whether it's a guy, man, or a woman or whatever. Knowing your strength and playing on that strength is so important, in my opinion. And I think that it can be intimidating when you know who you're going to compete against. Like if you know you're going to be competing against a mass monster, you feel like, oh God, I got to put on 20 pounds of muscle, and you try to put on that 20 pounds of muscle, and you see the scale go up, and you're convincing yourself, oh my gosh, this is muscle. I'm going to be there. And that happened, I think, a little bit to Martin too, maybe, and also to Patrick, maybe. I don't know what their story is completely, or if that's what their plan was. So I don't want to speak to that, but it seems like maybe, playing someone else's game when you're trying to win a show could be something that hurts you. Like we were talking about Keon, he doesn't necessarily need to gain more size, and he'll be able to battle it out with Samson, who outweighs him by what, like 100 pounds?
But off season,
Like Dennis, when you went on stage, what was your game? What did you feel like? Okay,
I made the mistake that I tell these guys not to do, because it was pretty much a similar situation. Mr. Olympia was Ronnie Coleman. Of course, we all thought, now we can only compete with Ronnie if we can get close to his size.
yeah,
And that was the biggest mistake I ever made. And when anybody asked me, what do you regret? What would you change if you could? I would stop chasing size and stick to my guns, and just work on quality and just get leaner and get better and get harder. That's it. And that's why when I see these guys like Martin now making this mistake, I don't even know if it's a mistake. He just, maybe he didn't try to gain 10 pounds. He just gained the weight.
I don't know the story.
But you gotta be realistic when you look in the mirror and you look at the scale. That one thing does not even compare with the other. Just because you're full in the mirror doesn't mean you have to condition. He learned the hard way, And I brought it up because I did that so many times.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. Like when I first saw Dennis walking the goals, I was like, damn, we got another Kevin Levrone. Kevin Levrone to deal with. I'm like, shit, right? So I'm like, okay. And then, we competed, we did our thing or whatever. But then when I started to notice he started gaining a lot of weight,
Too much.
Yeah, and then I was less worried about him beating me, because it wasn't the same guy as I first saw as a threat.
I don't want to blame nobody for this, but I'm gonna have to blame him. God damn it, I got to blame him. If I would have been by myself, I would have never got this big. I'm not mentioning no names, but sometimes it's got to be a point where big is enough.
Yeah. I mean, I've done shows, even like the 98 Olympia. I've done it with my, I just coach myself into it, and I mean, you just get in shape and do the show. That's all it was. It wasn't like
I turned pro. I won the USAs. I did everything by myself.
Yeah,
I
It's
just,
Yeah.
you know,
not
I didn't know much, but I guess I didn't need it much
a
because
Yeah.
skinny chick.
my body was going in the direction where it should have went, you know. And when I remember when I won the USA's, I mean, everybody praised me for my shape. I had a small
Yeah.
waist, you know. Of course, I mean, listen, I'm not really blaming anybody for this because at the end of the day, I got to blame myself because I was the
Mhm.
one stuffing that food down my throat,
That's
you know.
But
But I didn't think it was going to go end up like this, you know. But that's why I tell people. That's why I tell people you cannot gain 20, 30, 40 pounds
you think
and keep
it's
your
solid, you
waist.
think it's all good.
And keep your waist. That is not
yeah,
happening. I don't
yeah.
care what you say. You know, are there exceptions? Yeah, sure. But I've seen it on even Rami is a good example. Rami got fucking big.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, his waist was really small for a big guy. Chris, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh
But then
yes.
you saw his waist expanded too.
Yeah,
It just happens. You cannot be too big for too long. It hurts you. You
yeah.
know.
Yes.
This is
And
the only thing that when I think back, I would have just
I
give me
know.
just one more chance to do it all over again and not chase size.
Yeah. No.
You know. Because even if you get as big as you want, you're not getting bigger than Ronnie. I
you
don't care.
would
I don't care what you eat.
you would have won so many more shows, Dennis.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so.
It's hard. I think in every division because everyone has their unique attributes that make
Mhm.
them incredible. You know, we all
Yeah.
have something going for us that makes us unique and awesome in our own way. But then when you're going to compete against somebody who is awesome in a totally different way, all of a sudden you start chasing that carrot. And
Yeah.
if I'm going to beat this person, I need to be better than them at what their game is. And I
Yeah.
guess that's kind of what I'm talking about. But I think universally having a small waist is obviously gonna be the best bet no matter
Yeah.
what.
But I tell you, I've seen guys with waist issues. I'm giving an example.
Yeah.
Blessing.
Yeah.
Blessing has a tiny waist from home.
Yeah.
But listen, you put on all that weight, you're not going to hide it. There's no
Yeah.
way, you know, and that's just the way it is, you know. Same with
Yeah.
the females. With the females, it's the same.
Yeah.
You see it happen. You see waists getting wider, you know,
Yeah.
because they're chasing size. Even figure girls, you
Yeah.
know, it's easier to hide for them because they open up and stretch, so you can, you know, you can suck it in. But I see it. I see it everywhere. You
Walking
know.
around.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm backstage and then like I see them like open it up on stage. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute,
Yeah.
it
Yeah. That didn't look
happened.
like
A magic
that.
trick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So that's why that's another thing. Practice posing because what you look like backstage don't matter because the judges don't see that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that this is one of the reasons I feel like people are more knowledgeable who competed in like the early 2000s and before, because before there were a bunch of coaches around, you had to fall and get back up, fall and get back up. You had to learn by doing. I mean, you had to make a lot of mistakes on your own, and that's kind of how you learn the
Yeah.
best, in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
so you make all the rookie mistakes, you make all the, you know, hopefully reversible
So
Yeah.
mistakes.
do you think social media was one of the things that made people think they needed to have a coach?
I was just
Well,
about to bring that up. Social media is the best thing that happened to the sport, and it's the worst thing that happened to the sport.
yes,
Now,
bingo.
here's the thing: people get mad because we on social media, we're talking about shows. That's our job. We
Yeah.
talk about shows, and I got to keep it real. If somebody is off, he's off. I can't say he's on when he's off.
Hmm.
So now people can't deal with the fact that some people are just honest and just call it the way they see it. So now you use social media to put yourself out there. You post
Yeah.
the pictures that look the best because you got a lucky shot that look like your waist is 30
Yeah,
inches
yeah.
when it's really 37. So now you post that picture like this is what I look like.
Yeah.
I'm not even accusing people of Photoshop, which I know is out there too.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah. So now you come on stage and you look nothing like these pictures.
right.
So if you put that shit out for us to see and for us to be like, oh wow, he looks, and now you get on stage,
Yeah.
don't complain when people comment on it. If you can't take the heat, stay off the social media. That's all I can say. That
That's
was
a
the
good point.
difference, and that's the difference between now. And I'm not saying don't do social media because most of these guys That's how they make money. That's how you create content. But now, what's more important to get ready for these shows to look great, or to do content to make money? So I get that. But we didn't have that problem. But for us, we couldn't read or see what someone else is doing, or we see pictures of what it just looks like. No, unless you talk to someone who was there and saw him, you never know what they look like.
Yeah.
And if you say something about another guy, he's going to have to wait 3 months for this to come out in Flex magazine so he can read it. We
And
didn't have the distraction. There was no distraction, because at the end of the day, you train, you eat, you sleep, but there's nothing else. Now, go anywhere on this planet, any country, go in any cafe, any school, any restaurant, anywhere, a park, and look at people. You see couples, families in restaurants sitting at the table, and everybody's looking at his phone. They don't even have conversations anymore.
yeah,
They don't even have conversations anymore. It's fucking ridiculous. Last time I talked to my wife and I told her, I said, let's pay attention to the phones. Everywhere. People walking in the street, they're looking in their phone.
Yeah. Yep.
It's I tell you, this is what kills everything.
they say the structure of people are going to change over the next 50 to 100 years also.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I'm not here to see this. I see it now. I see it now with my granddaughter.
Everyone's going to be looking down, and everybody's going to be like,
Chris.
Yeah.
No.
I see it with my granddaughter. She sits there when she eats. We have to put the phone down or the iPad and let her watch a movie so she can. And then you can talk to her. She can't focus on nothing but watching the screen. And you see everybody's doing it. Restaurants, people with their kids. Chris, can you imagine you want to tell your dad, give me an iPad so I can eat?
No.
I would have got a belt around my neck.
I'm telling you, the three of us are walking pieces of history.
Yeah. I still don't understand. I said it's too late now because they already messed that up for it.
It is. It's
If
too
you
late.
don't if you don't put the phone there with the Baby Shark and who knows what else.
Yeah, but like, okay. But the thing is, though, is that if you go ahead.
No, I said Teletubbies on.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that, like, if you don't keep up, though, you're gonna fall behind. It's like you have to stay on top of everything, and it's stressful. You know, I mean, even with
unfortunately, that's the way it is, and also for us, you know, and it's, you know, I mean, from my main thing right now is I run the shows in Germany.
Yeah.
So I got to stay on top of it with social media. If it wasn't for all this, I would delete all my shit. I would so delete it if I could. Trust me, I'm tired. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of posting.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm really tired because I know what they changed the whole life. You have no life.
Yeah.
Can you imagine they turn the Wi-Fi off for 1 week? What happens? People kill each other.
I would be
pandemonium.
Yeah.
You know, I think Instagram was shut down for a whole day one time, and I was so excited because I was like, I said, if I can't do it, nobody can do it. And it was awesome because I was not able to do Instagram, but neither was anyone else. So it was great.
I'm going on vacation July 2nd.
Phone away.
And I'm gonna try not to post one single story or picture in 2 weeks.
Be like, Dennis, collaborate.
Yeah, I'm on vacation. I'm gonna turn my phone off.
Good.
It won't even work. Don't call me. Good. Don't text me. Leave me. Just leave me be. I'm gonna be all right. I know it's. I'm telling myself I'm gonna try. I know it's hard.
Good for you. Good for you.
I don't even wear a watch. I look at the phone and see what time it is. So you're always on the phone. So
good for you. Okay, I have a question for both of you. Okay, I want to talk about the Arnold, but from a very unique perspective, because this is a perspective that I happen to have. You were talking about, you know, doing the Arnold and then doing the Olympia, and you know whether it's beneficial or helpful to do it, or if guys should save it for the Olympia, you know, because it's hard to peak at both shows, right? I was thinking about this, and, you know, aside from the controversy that everyone's talking about, I was thinking about, you know, as a figure competitor, figure was taken off of the Arnold, as was women's physique and women's bodybuilding and men's 212. Did I miss one? I think that's it. But when women's figure was taken off of the Arnold. I competed in the last one in 2022, but when figure was taken off, it was weird because that was always a show that I kind of stressed out about because I had to do it. I'm like, if you could do the Arnold, you got to do it, right? Because they only invite like 10 people. But then you go, okay, if this isn't a show that I can qualify for the Olympia, now I'm wasting a show on it. Now I got to figure out, strategically what shows. So it was weird, kind of like the social media thing and losing Instagram for a day. I'm like, I can't do it, but nobody can do it. So we're good, right? And it's weird because you'd think I'd be really upset that figure was taken off of the Arnold. So that is the unique perspective that I have. So tell me a little bit more about doing the Arnold and doing the Olympia and peaking for both shows and how that plays a role in having the best season.
Back then, it was a privilege to be in both shows.
Yeah.
See what you just mentioned? You had to be strategic.
Yeah.
That did not exist back then. You do the shows. There's no strategy.
Yeah.
You getting on that stage. If you get on that stage, they take pictures. You get in the magazines. If you don't get on that stage, you're in no magazines. So it's different. Now people choose their shows by, I can possibly qualify if I go there. If I'm lucky if this guy doesn't show up, maybe I go. If not, I'm going to go.
Well, because it's expensive to travel at all these shows and stuff.
I get that. I get that. But that's why when you sign up for a sport like this, that's the things that you know.
Yeah.
Once you accept that pro card, now you know, now you're going to have to travel to get to the shows. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I understand that it's expensive. But because you said it's, for me, it wasn't even a question that if the shows are like literally back to back with each other.
How many shows did you compete in a year?
I did 39.
Wait, in 1 year though?
No, 1 year. Oh shit, Chris, what was it? 2000 and 2000. There was the Arnold, and there was the tour. It's like 7-8 shows 1 year.
Yeah, I've done that, and then now I'm at the kind of towards the end of my road, and I don't know about competing in 7 shows a year.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too. I mean, but you get to a point where when you mentally, you don't have it anymore, and listen, I'm not even willing to give everything.
Yeah,
that's a sign you should quit. That's enough. Then, no, because it's when you're in your 20s and you get a chance to do something, you will run through the walls to get there, right?
Yeah.
And once you start being strategic, okay, I will not go there because that's.
So you don't believe in strategy at all, like strategically?
I don't believe in strategy and bodybuilding. What strategy? Your strategy is to get in shape, to be in shape that day. There, you need a strategy.
Well, the strategy of timing your goal shape, right?
You said strategy about qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said strategy qualifying.
Well, strategy, because the Arnold is in January or March. Sorry, the Arnold's in March, and then the Olympia it's supposed to be in September. Eventually, it's going to get there, but it's in
October. It's October.
Yeah, it's October. So what I'm saying is like the strategy of like having your best physique in March, and then also your best physique in October, and figuring out how to make sure that you get there. I mean, that's the strategy, and your body cooperating with you.
That's hard. That's hard. But it's very hard to peak 2 times within 6-7 months. That's super hard.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Yes, but you're probably going to be better at one show than the other.
And I guess that's the strategy I'm talking about.
Chris is an example. Chris, his strategy, unless we talk about 99 Olympia, he was always better at the Arnold.
Always better at the Arnold.
So, but he used not being 100% at the Olympia, and then he just continued, and he got better and better for the Arnold.
Yeah.
And then he fell off again for the Olympia, came in worse at the Olympia, and then did the same thing again. So he was just the opposite way. And for other,
I was hardly ever on at the Olympia.
Yeah. But
you were in 99.
If that's the strategy that you mean, and because I understood your strategy, but where do I go so I can possibly qualify? That's the way I took the question. Because it's not all about qualifying. It's about getting on stage. And if you can get on stage at the Arnold, get that opportunity.
I plan on being on the Olympia stage, and I originally.
I know
planned
you
on being
qualified for this year,
and
right?
then
You do
whatever
you doing
happened.
it?
What?
You qualified this year, right?
Not yet, but I plan to.
Okay, so are you
So
going to Rising Phoenix?
no, I don't think that there is figure. I don't think that they have figure there. I think they took figure
The
off of that
Rising
one.
Phoenix, don't they have every female category?
I don't think so. I don't think they have
Yes, they
figure
do.
anymore. Pro figure? Are you sure?
Unless they
I'll have to check.
I thought it was all female categories.
I'll have to check. I'll have to check. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
sure that I don't want to misquote.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was going to say the same as what Dennis said, and I took it as, having a strategy of what show to do or not to do. But I was going to say what we was going by was almost like a stepping stone. Like if you can win that Arnold, that's a stepping stone to catapult you into the conversation that you can win the Olympia, or you can be in the top 3 or the top 4 or 5 in the Olympia. That's what it was just a stepping stone. But we just always wanted to see how good we can be against whoever's in the show.
Right.
And did we improve from the previous year? Did we improve the body parts or whatever we were working on in the off season? Did we improve? And it was more like that. And it was always just like that. It was never.
And just because someone beat you this past weekend doesn't mean you can't beat him next weekend.
Right.
It happened and flip-flopped so many times for so many people.
Yeah.
And so many people think that because they beat someone here that they're gonna always beat them.
Yeah.
Who's behind me, I'm gonna always beat them. That's not the case.
Yeah. Before I let you both go, can you believe we've been talking for so long? I have to have you back. This has been so fun, right? Dennis is like, I'm getting ready to go on vacation. What are you talking about?
I'm not going to July 2nd.
Yeah. Okay. So just really fast. Okay. We don't have the opportunity to be at the Arnold anymore. And neither do those other divisions I've mentioned. And now Arnold has talked about how he's raising the money for the open men's bodybuilding. I know everyone's talking about this. Okay. But I still want to give you guys a chance to chime in and tell me your thoughts after the initial thoughts. Obviously it's old news because everybody's talking about it, but now that everybody's talked about it, have you taken any information in after everyone has kind of said their piece, and where are you at with it now? Your thoughts?
What are you talking about? The price money increase?
The prize money increase and the controversy around it not going to any other divisions. And I'm not even gonna say just women, because it's every division that is kind of
okay. So
about that.
So the question is, what do you think about the prize money increase? And what's the other question?
What do you think about the prize money increase and the controversy surrounding it not being distributed across the board on the other divisions?
The information that I have is that all the other divisions will get more prize money too.
It will be more.
Oh, okay.
It's just not that dramatic. It's not like, it's not going to go 500,000. I mean, 250,000 up for other categories. But I know that all other categories increase the prize money too. They're probably going to make that announcement in the future. Yeah. So, okay, I thought more like when you mentioned controversy, do you think maybe when Linda went online and called out Arnold for not increasing the prize money or having only a certain amount. For that, I mean, I love Linda, but at the end of the day, everybody who is promoting shows knows that promoting shows is not cheap. You got to pay prize money, sanction fees, and there's a lot of money involved. And you have to. It is the same in every sport. The better players that sell the most tickets, they make the most money. That's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So I hate it a little bit that she's got a lot of backlash from what she said. I know she didn't mean it the way it sounded. She didn't really call out Arnold. She just wanted to speak up for the girls, which I understand. She just wanted to speak up for the girls. And like I said, I from what I heard is that the prize money is going to go up for all of them. How dramatic it will be, it's probably not going to be anything close to what the guys are getting. But that's unfortunately because I guess the show lives off the bodybuilders.
Yeah.
You know, if the bodybuilders wouldn't compete, if they take that category out, how many tickets would they really sell? You know what I'm saying? So, and
I
that's
do.
not to talk down on any of them female categories.
No,
You
no.
know, that's just the way it is, and that's just the truth right now. And it's the same as the Mr. Olympia. You know,
Yeah.
it's Mr. Olympia will always be the big boys. You know, it's classic, more popular. Yeah, for competitors maybe because it's more achievable.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's actually a good point.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
achievable. When I look at Chris Bumstead, I look at Mike Sommerfeld or Urs or whoever.
Yeah.
I can. This is something that I can see myself achieving.
Right.
Now, when you see Nick Walker or Samson, they'll be like, "Oh shit,
No.
I love to watch these guys, but I don't think I can ever be this big."
Right.
So,
Totally.
and I remember Dorian said that at one interview where he said, "What's the difference now with the bodybuilders? We don't have as many bodybuilders no more. How
Right.
many good bodybuilders? You know? Let's just say for USA's Nationals, those two shows, and the North Americans back then, we had one pro coming out of each show every year. Nationals was more because it was each class, but we just talked about this on the podcast with Chris and me and Milos. I said, when did the last pro that turned pro in the US made an impact?
Hmm.
Who was the last one? It used to
Yeah.
be every year one guy.
Yeah.
So the last one was literally Derek Lunsford.
Yep.
And he turned pro when was that?
Is it
2016?
Nick or Derek or who is the or both?
I think
Same
Nick
year?
turned pro before Derek, so around the same time. But how many years ago is this? Instead of having one every year that's doing damage in the pros, now
Yeah.
you see these guys turn pro, and then most likely you'll never see them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
There was.
problem.
It is. I mean, I think well that's another topic is the pro cards. You know, I know. I know we could go, there's so many things that we could go down. But Chris, you were gonna say something.
I was going to mention. I know that Linda didn't purposely personally direct anything towards
No.
Andrew Jack. So I just want to put
Oh
that.
no, I didn't see.
know.
She just mentioned that
Yeah.
an
That's an
example.
example.
Yeah, he was an example. He was no. She didn't. I don't like the fact that people take these things. This is
I
fucking
know.
social media. There he is. There
I
you
know.
have it. I can say, man, if you got blue sky, I can see one cloud up there, and that's it. And then they turn that shit around and say, I see nothing but cloud and a little bit of blue. You know?
Yeah.
It's turquoise. What are you talking
People
about?
get so personal about it.
Turquoise.
I think the discrepancy is large, which I understand how that would rub people the wrong way. But the way I look at it is, it's not just about like, oh, there's more fans for open bodybuilder, because it's like, why is that? The open men's bodybuilders, they are the most of the freakiest of the freak shows, and they put their bodies under the most risk. They put everything on the line the most. I mean, the difference between what a bodybuilder has to go through to get to the stage and a bikini competitor is huge. You know what I mean? Both are incredible athletes, but there is a lot on the line. There's a lot at stake for somebody to push their body to that level, to that limit. And, it really does deserve a lot of recognition, right? And a lot of fans, and it is a freak show, really, if you think about it. But I mean, in the best way, I guess you could say, I mean, to say that the men in the pro bodybuilding world are risking everything, their lives, their, livelihood, everything to be able to be on that stage is, I would say that's an understatement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I also,
everybody trains hard. I've seen bikini girls suffer. I mean, they don't go to the extent of bodybuilders. I mean, how many
oh
times
no,
have we?
everyone does.
Yeah.
I mean,
But how many times have we heard bikini competitor tore a biceps or a quad triceps or anything?
that's what I'm talking about.
So yeah. So
I'm just saying that, like, as a female, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can.
Listen. For me, perfect scenario would be everybody gets the same prize money.
That would be awesome.
That would be perfect scenario, But
If it wasn't a business,
huh?
If it wasn't a business.
Yeah, it's everything is a business today. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't, it's like, look, here's the difference. very good example. Sponsorships. Why do guys have less sponsorships than we had back in the day? Well, listen, the sponsorships today is way more money.
Yeah.
But back then, the top 10 all had sponsors. Matter of fact, there was times where one company sponsored the top 10.
Yeah.
And now you don't see that no more. You see
Influencers.
guys do, yeah, because back then you get rewarded, you get sponsorships by off your places, about where you stand in the industry. And
Yep.
today you get a sponsor of how many followers you have, how you interact, because
Yeah.
I don't care about you as a sponsor. I want your followers
The
to buy the
social
products.
currency era.
So back then we signed the contract. This is the money you're getting every month, and that's it.
Yep.
Today, here's a contract where it states here we'll give you this base salary, which is a bunch of nothing, but we give you 10% of your codes, whatever you sell. So
Yeah.
now a company, if you don't sell more than they give you, they're gonna get rid of you because you can't use you. That's unfortunately the way it is today. So it's all about influencers, and the influencers, they're the ones that making that crazy money that bodybuilders deserve.
Yep.
I said my piece. You got it.
You said your piece. I was gonna see if Chris wanted to add on to that or chime in.
I'm good.
You're good.
That's good.
Okay. Well, I know you guys, we could talk forever, and I so appreciate you both. Don't go anywhere. I want to say goodbye to you on the flip side. But before we go, Chris, do you want to say any final words to your fans and your followers and everybody who loves you so much?
Just happy to continue to do what I'm doing. You know, Dennis kind of brought me into this type of podcasting deal and stuff, and yeah, I just want to continue to teach and show the next generation how they could do it better than I did it, or how I think they can achieve what their dreams are, and just keep them moving, man, until I'm too tired for this shit.
Yeah.
Not yet. You're not even close. Okay, Dennis, final word.
Final
What
words.
say you?
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you guys.
Yes.
Chris, we're back on the podcast on Tuesday anyways. By the way, the new one airs tomorrow. I will post the teaser in about 10 minutes.
Yes.
And for everybody here in Arizona and around Arizona, June 28th, come check out the Dennis James Classic. New venue, Renaissance Hotel at Westgate. We kicking ass over there. Other than that, I wish you guys all the best. Hang in there and just keep grinding.
All right. Amazing. So our two legends here today, thank you both so much. And everyone watching, thank you. And we'll put this on our YouTube channel, so it'll live forever. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the flip side.